Sang-ho's shoes slipped on wet concrete as he cut sharply between two narrow buildings, his breath coming in short, controlled bursts. The night air felt heavy, pressing against his lungs. Every turn felt like a gamble. Every shadow looked like a threat. He didn't look back, but he didn't need to. He could feel them behind him, not close enough to touch, but close enough to matter. His shoulder brushed a rusted metal door. Pain flared, but he ignored it. He had learned long ago that pain was information, not a command. His focus stayed forward. The alley narrowed. Trash bins. Broken crates. A puddle that reflected a flicker of light from somewhere behind him. Voices carried through the rain. Low. Urgent. Not shouting, but sharp enough to cut through the night. Split up, someone said. Sang-ho changed direction instantly. A chain-link fence blocked the next path. He didn't slow down. He grabbed the top, swung, and dropped hard on the other side. His balance wavered. His knee hit the ground. He pushed back up before his body could complain. He turned one last corner and nearly ran straight into a small figure standing in a narrow doorway. He stopped so suddenly that his foot slid forward, forcing him to grab the wall to steady himself. The girl didn't scream. That alone surprised him. She was thin, wrapped in an oversized hoodie, her hair pulled back roughly, her eyes wide but steady. She took in his condition in one quick glance, the tension in his shoulders, the way he favored one side, the way his eyes kept flicking toward the alley behind him. For a split second, neither of them spoke. Rain dripped from the edge of the roof above them. Then she stepped back into the doorway and pulled it open just enough to create space. "Stay silent," she whispered, her voice low but firm. "I'll keep you in my room." Sang-ho hesitated. Not because he didn't need help. Because trusting a child in a place like this felt like stepping into a different kind of danger. The voices behind him grew closer. Shoes splashed through puddles. Someone laughed, short and sharp, like a man enjoying the chase. The girl didn't wait for his answer. She grabbed his sleeve and pulled him inside. The door closed softly behind them. Darkness swallowed them both. For a second, he thought about bolting again. Then footsteps passed outside. Close. Too close. Io didn't move until the sound faded. Only then did she let out a slow breath. "You can sit," she said quietly, pointing toward a narrow mattress on the floor. "But don't make noise." Sang-ho lowered himself carefully, every muscle tight, every sense alert. He had survived betrayals, ambushes, and deals gone wrong. But this was new. A child. A small room. And a choice that could cost both of them everything. If this opening already has your heart racing and you want to follow every tense moment of Sang-ho and Io's journey, now is the perfect time to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single twist. Hit the like button to show your support, and drop a comment below telling us what you would do if you were in Io's position. Would you help, or would you run? Your answer matters. The room was smaller than it first appeared. A single mattress. A cracked mirror leaning against the wall. A plastic chair with one uneven leg. The air smelled faintly of soap and something burnt, like overcooked noodles. Io crouched by the door, listening. Sang-ho watched her, trying to understand her. She wasn't shaking. That bothered him more than if she had been. "You shouldn't have done that," he said quietly. She glanced at him. "You shouldn't have been running." A corner of his mouth twitched despite himself. "Fair." She walked to a small shelf and pulled out a rag and a bottle of water. She didn't ask permission. She held them out. "Clean up," she said. "You look like you lost a fight with a wall." Something like that. He took the rag. Their fingers brushed for a brief second. She didn't pull away. "Why help me?" he asked. Io shrugged. "Because you needed it." "That's not a reason. That's a sentence." She met his eyes. "It's enough for me." He studied her face. Dirt on one cheek. A faint scar near her eyebrow. Eyes too serious for someone her age. "How old are you?" he asked. Old enough to know when someone's in trouble. That's not an age. She smiled slightly. Neither is that. Outside, a door slammed somewhere in the building. Voices drifted through the thin walls. Io stiffened. She moved fast, stepping toward Sang-ho and lowering her voice even more. If anyone knocks, don't move. Don't talk. Let me handle it. You're brave, he said. She snorted softly. No. I'm careful. The knock came sooner than either of them expected. 3 sharp taps. Io didn't look at Sang-ho. She just raised a finger, signaling him to stay still. Yes, she called, changing her tone instantly, lighter, younger, almost careless. Io, you in there? A man's voice said from the other side. Yes, sir. You see anyone run through here? She paused just long enough to make it believable. No. Just me. The door handle rattled. Sang-ho's muscles tightened. Io stepped closer to the door, blocking it with her body. Is something wrong? The handle stopped moving. Stay inside, the man said. Lock your door. I always do. Footsteps moved away. Io waited until the sound faded completely. Only then did she lean her forehead against the door for a second. Her shoulders dropped. That was close, she said. You didn't have to lie, Sang-ho said quietly. She turned. Yes, I did. He searched her face. Why? She hesitated. Because, she said, people who run like you usually aren't running for nothing. That doesn't mean I deserve help. She tilted her head. I didn't say you deserved it. I said you needed it. Silence settled between them. He cleaned his hands slowly. You live alone? He asked. She shook her head. Not really. There are others. Like me. Like you. She hesitated. Orphans. The word landed heavier than she probably meant it to. Sang-ho felt something tighten in his chest. I'm Io, she added. Since you're in my room, I should at least know your name. He considered lying. He had lied to people far stronger than her. But something about her steadiness made the lie feel heavier than usual. Sang-ho, he said. Just Sang-ho. She repeated it softly, testing the sound. Sang-ho. Their eyes met again. A strange trust hung between them, fragile, dangerous, and very real. Minutes passed. Then more. Sang-ho stood slowly. I can't stay long. Yes, you can. No, he corrected. I shouldn't. That's different. He almost smiled. You don't understand what's out there, he said. I understand enough, Io replied. People looking for you. People who don't knock politely. He nodded once. That's fair. She crossed her arms. Then stay until it's quiet. And if it's not, then you stay longer. He studied the thin walls, the narrow space, the life she clearly lived. This could bring trouble to you, he said. Trouble already knows my address, she said simply. Another sound outside. Not close. But close enough to remind them both. Sang-ho sat back down. Io relaxed slightly. Later, she brought him a cup of water and half a piece of bread. It's not much, she said. It's more than I expected, he replied. She watched him eat. Not in a hungry way. In a curious way. You don't look like the men who pass through here, she said. Good, he said. I try not to. They wear cheap confidence, she continued. You wear real fear. He froze. That's a strange thing to say to a guest, he said carefully. She shrugged. Fear makes people honest. Or dangerous. Or both. Their eyes locked again. Io spoke softly. What are you running from, Sang-ho? He didn't answer. She didn't push. That restraint impressed him more than any question could have. Later that night, footsteps returned. Louder. Closer. Io motioned for him to move behind the door, into a narrow space barely wide enough to stand. If they open it, she whispered, don't breathe loud. That's your plan? It's the only one I have. The handle turned. Io stepped forward instantly. Yes. Inspection, a different voice said. Older. Harder. She tilted her head. Inspection for what? Just checking rooms. You already checked mine earlier. A pause. Open the door wider. Io's heart pounded so hard she felt it in her ears. She opened the door just enough to show the small, empty room behind her, blocking Sang-ho completely with her body and the angle. There's nothing here, she said calmly. The man leaned forward slightly, trying to see past her. Io didn't move. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he stepped back. Lock up, he said. If you see anything, you report it. Yes, sir. The door closed. Io didn't turn around right away. She waited. Counted to 5. Then 10. Then she turned. Sang-ho exhaled slowly. You're very good at this, he said. She looked tired now. You get used to hiding. That sentence stayed with him. You shouldn't have to, he said quietly. She gave a small, sad smile. People say that a lot. They sat in silence for a while. Not empty. Heavy. Then Io spoke again. You're not just some guy who stole something, are you? He looked at her. Why do you think that? Because men who steal run. Men like you calculate. That's a dangerous thing to notice. She met his eyes. So is pretending not to. He leaned back against the wall. What if knowing the truth puts you in more danger? She folded her arms tighter. What if not knowing already has? That answer stayed with him longer than he expected. For the first time since he entered that room, Sang-ho realized something unsettling. This girl wasn't just brave. She was smart. And that made everything more complicated. Morning crept in slowly, not with sunlight, but with noise. Footsteps in the hallway. A door slamming 2 rooms down. Someone coughing hard enough to shake the thin walls. The building woke up the way it always did, loud, tired, and impatient. Sang-ho opened his eyes before he fully realized he had slept. For a brief moment, instinct kicked in. He tensed, ready to move. Then he remembered. The small room. The thin mattress. The girl who had pulled him out of an alley without knowing who he was. Io was sitting on the floor near the door, her back against the wall, knees pulled to her chest. She had fallen asleep there, guarding the entrance without meaning to. He studied her quietly. She looked younger when she slept. Less guarded. Less sharp. More like a child who should be worrying about school or friends, not men searching hallways and knocking on doors. He shifted slightly. The mattress creaked. Io's eyes opened instantly. You're awake, she said. You sleep light, he replied. You learn to. She stood, stretching her arms. You can't stay here all day. I know. But you can't leave yet either. That's the problem. She grabbed a small bag from under the mattress. There's a back stairwell. Not many people use it. That's useful information. She hesitated. Not now. Later. When it's quieter. He nodded. Fair. She handed him a small towel. Clean up properly. You look like you lost a long argument with the ground. That's accurate. While he cleaned up, Io busied herself, straightening the room, making it look more lived in, more normal. She moved with purpose. Not frantic. Controlled. You do this a lot, Sang-ho said. She paused. Do what? Prepare for trouble. She shrugged. Trouble doesn't send invitations. He watched her for a moment. What do you want to be when you're older? The question caught her off guard. She stared at him. That's random. It matters. She thought about it. I don't know. Something that means I don't have to hide. That's a good goal. What about you? She asked. What did you want to be? He almost laughed. Safe, he said. She frowned slightly. That's not a job. It is when you grow up like I did. She studied his face. Did you grow up like me? He hesitated. Not exactly, he said. But close enough to understand. There was a knock down the hallway. Not on her door, but close enough. They both went quiet. Io moved closer to the door, listening. Sang-ho's body shifted automatically, positioning himself where he could react if needed. "Relax," she whispered. "It's not for us." The voices passed. Io exhaled slowly. "You're always tense," she said. "That's how you stay alive. Or how you forget how to live." That hit harder than he expected. "You talk like someone older than you are," he said. "You act like someone younger than you are," she replied. A faint smile touched his face. "Fair enough." Later, she brought him food from somewhere, nothing fancy, but warm. "Where did you get this?" he asked. She shrugged. "I have ways." "That's not comforting. It's survival." He ate slowly. "You're not afraid of me," he said. "That's also not comforting," she replied. "I mean it. Most people would be." She leaned against the wall. "People in this building are afraid of everything. If I'm afraid of you too, then I have nothing left." "That's not true." "Feels true sometimes." Silence filled the room again. Not awkward. Heavy. "You didn't ask why they're looking for you," Sang-ho said. "I don't need to." "You should." She shook her head. "If I know, I'm responsible. If I don't, I'm just helping someone." "That's a dangerous way to think." "So is yours." He studied her. "You're smarter than you let on." "I don't let on. People just don't look." Later that afternoon, shouting echoed from outside. Not close, but loud enough to make the walls feel thinner. Io stiffened. "They're still searching," she said. Sang-ho's jaw tightened. "They're thorough." "That sounds personal." "It is." She looked at him carefully. "Did you betray someone?" "Yes." Her eyes widened slightly. "You don't say that like it was small." "It wasn't." "Why?" "Because I was tired of being used." "That's it." "That's never it." "But it's enough for now." She didn't press. But something shifted. She wasn't just helping a stranger anymore. She was helping someone who had made enemies. Serious ones. That night, the building felt different. Quieter. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that meant people were listening. Io noticed it too. "They're waiting," she whispered. "For what?" "For you to make a mistake." He met her eyes. "Then I won't." "That's what everyone says." A knock came. On her door. Both of them froze. Io lifted a finger to her lips. "Yes," she called, steady. "Io," a woman's voice said. "Open up." Io relaxed slightly. "It's Mrs. K." She cracked the door open. Mrs. K stood there, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "You seen any strange men around?" Mrs. K asked. Io shook her head. "Just the usual strange." Mrs. K narrowed her eyes. "Don't get smart." "I don't get smart. I stay alive." Mrs. K studied her for a moment, then glanced past her into the room. Sang-ho stayed perfectly still. "Be careful," Mrs. K said. "People are looking for someone dangerous." Io nodded. "Aren't they always?" Mrs. K left. Io closed the door slowly. Her hands shook this time. Sang-ho noticed. "They're getting closer," she said. "Yes." "Then you should leave." "I can't yet." "That's what you said yesterday. And it's still true." She turned to him sharply. "You're putting me in danger." He didn't deny it. "I know. That's not an apology. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for time." She stared at him. "How much time?" she asked. "I don't know." "That's not good enough." "I know." They stood facing each other. Two people with nothing to lose. And everything. "You're not just some man," Io said quietly. "You're someone important to someone dangerous." "That's accurate." "Are you a leader?" He hesitated. "In some ways." "Are you a criminal?" "Yes." She flinched. "Not in fear. In disappointment." "That's honest," she said. That's rare for me. She looked away. I didn't save you to protect a criminal. You saved me to protect a human being. She closed her eyes briefly. That's what I keep telling myself. A sudden crash echoed from another floor. Shouting. Running. Io's heart jumped. They're searching again, she said. Sang-ho moved closer to her. Listen to me. If they come here and things get bad, you run. I'm not leaving you. That's an order. She laughed once, bitter. You don't get to order me. You deserve better than being caught in my mess. She stepped closer. You don't get to decide what I deserve. Their eyes locked. Something unspoken passed between them. Not romance. Not family. Something raw. Shared danger. Shared silence. Shared choice. Hours passed like days. Then voices again. Closer. Footsteps stopped outside her door. Io's breath caught. A man's voice spoke quietly. This floor again. Another voice answered. Check all doors. Io backed up slowly. Sang-ho's body tensed. If they opened the door, there would be no good options. A knock. Harder than before. Io, a man called. Open up. She stepped forward, heart pounding. Yes. Open. Now. She opened the door just enough. Two men stood there. Not from the building. Their eyes were too sharp. Too focused. They scanned the room. Sang-ho held his breath. Anyone else here? One asked. No, Io said. They stared at her. Longer. You sure? The other asked. Yes. The first man smiled slightly. Kids lie, he said. She didn't look away. Adults do too. The smile faded. They looked past her again. The silence stretched. Then the first man stepped back. For now, he said. They walked away. Io closed the door slowly. Her hands shook hard now. They're not from here, she whispered. No, Sang-ho said quietly. They're looking for me. She turned on him. You said that before. You didn't say they'd come here themselves. I hoped they wouldn't. That's not a plan. It was a mistake. Her voice broke slightly. You can't stay. I know. But if you leave now, I might lead them away. That might not work. It's better than waiting. She looked torn. You saved me, he said softly. Now let me return it. How? By making sure they don't hurt you because of me. She swallowed hard. I didn't save you so you could leave and get caught. You saved me so I could live long enough to make choices. Tears welled in her eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. You're not just running, she said. You're planning. Yes. For what? For something I should have done a long time ago. She stared at him. That sounds like a goodbye. It's not. It sounds like one. He lowered his voice. Io, listen to me. No matter what you hear, no matter what people say, remember this, you didn't do anything wrong. Her voice shook. You don't know that. I know enough. They stood there, the air thick with things neither of them could say. Then Sang-ho spoke again. If I don't come back, he said carefully, don't wait for me. Her jaw tightened. You think I'm that kind of person? No. I think you deserve to keep living. She turned away, blinking fast. I hate this, she said. So do I. But neither of them moved. Not yet. If you're feeling the tension between Sang-ho and Io and you want to see how their dangerous choices unfold, now is the time to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single moment of this gripping story. Also, leave a comment below and tell us honestly, would you let Sang-ho leave to protect you, or would you risk everything to keep him hidden? Your thoughts make this story even more powerful. Night fell again. He still hadn't left. Because leaving meant making the final move. And final moves change everything. Io sat on the mattress, knees pulled close. You're afraid, she said. Yes. Of them. Of what I'll have to become to stop them. She studied him. You already are what you are. Not completely. That's worse. Or better. She shook her head. You talk like someone who's already decided. I have. Then why are you still here? Because leaving you behind feels like another betrayal. She looked up at him. You don't owe me anything. That's not how I see it. You barely know me. I know you're brave. I know you lie to protect people. I know you stand in front of danger even when you're scared. That doesn't make me special. It makes you rare. Her eyes softened. People don't say that to me, she said quietly. They should. A noise outside made them both look up. Not footsteps. A car door. Then another. Io stood slowly. They're not leaving, she said. They're setting up. Sang-ho's face hardened. Then it's time, he said. To do what? To stop running. She stared at him. You're going to face them. Yes. That's crazy. That's necessary. She grabbed his sleeve. You'll get caught. Maybe. You'll get hurt. Probably. She swallowed. Then stay. He met her eyes. I can't. Not because he didn't want to, but because staying would mean letting danger settle around her. And that was something he refused to do. Not after everything she had risked. He gently removed her hand from his sleeve. I'll draw them away, he said. If I can, I'll go back. When? When it's safe. That's not a time. It's a promise. She looked at him, tears threatening again. You don't make promises you can't keep, she said. I'll try. That's not good enough. It's all I have. Silence filled the room one last time. Heavy. Unforgiving. Then Io spoke. If you don't come back, she said, I'll assume you chose yourself. That wouldn't be true. But it would feel like it. He stepped closer. No matter what happens, you changed something in me. She looked away. I didn't mean to. I know. That's why it matters. He moved toward the door. Io whispered his name. Sang-ho. He turned. Don't disappear, she said. He nodded once. Then he opened the door and stepped back into the danger, leaving behind the only place that had felt safe in a long time. The hallway air felt heavier the moment Sang-ho stepped out of Io's room. It wasn't just the noise or the distant movement. It was the feeling that something had already shifted. The building no longer felt neutral. It felt watched. He walked without rushing. Rushing drew attention. Calm made people underestimate you. He took the back stairwell, just as Io had mentioned earlier. The concrete steps were worn smooth from years of use. Every sound echoed more than it should have. Halfway down, he stopped. Not because he heard something. Because he felt it. That instinct had saved him more times than he could count. He leaned slightly against the wall, pretending to be tired, pretending to be just another man moving through a tired building. Footsteps appeared at the top of the stairs. Not hurried. Controlled. Too low. Their voices were low. They said he was on this floor. He won't stay long. Sang-ho kept his breathing slow. He stepped out of the stairwell casually, nodding at them like a neighbor. They nodded back. That was the danger. They were trained not to look dangerous. He passed them. They passed him. 3 steps later, he felt it again. They had stopped. So, one of them said behind him, You live here? Sang-ho turned slowly. For now, he replied. The men studied him. One tilted his head slightly. You're not from this building. Sang-ho shrugged. Neither are you. A thin smile appeared on the man's face. Fair. The other man took a small step closer. We're looking for someone. A lot of people are, Sang-ho said. The man's eyes sharpened. You seem calm for someone who just walked out of a room we were interested in. Sang-ho didn't blink. I walk out of a lot of rooms. Silence stretched. Then the first man nodded once. Have a good night. They stepped aside. Sang-ho walked past them. He didn't speed up until he turned the next corner. Only then did he allow his body to move faster. He exited the building through a side door and stepped into the night. Cars were parked nearby. Not just random ones. Strategically placed. They weren't hunting blindly anymore. They were controlling space. He moved down the street, blending into late-night foot traffic. A couple arguing. A man talking loudly on his phone. A woman dragging a suitcase. Normal life. Danger hid best inside normal. Sang-ho ducked into a small shop and exited through the back. Then another alley. Then another street. He wasn't just running. He was leading. If they followed him, they would be away from Io. That was the point. His phone vibrated in his pocket. He ignored it. Then it vibrated again. That meant urgency. He stopped briefly in a shadowed doorway and checked the screen. One message. Where are you? No name. He typed back, handling it. 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. Then another message. Don't do this alone. Sang-ho exhaled slowly. Too late for that. He turned the phone off. On the other side of the building, Io sat on the edge of the mattress, staring at the door. She hadn't moved since he left. Every sound felt louder. Every creak felt like a warning. She hugged her knees tighter. You said you'd come back, she whispered to the empty room. She didn't cry. Not yet. Crying took energy. She needed that. A sound in the hallway made her look up. Footsteps. Slower than before. Heavier. Not Mrs. K. Not a neighbor. Io stood quietly and moved closer to the door. The handle turned slightly. Not fully. Just a test. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Who is it? She called, keeping her voice steady. No answer. The handle turned again. Harder. She backed away. Io, a man's voice said softly, open up. Her blood ran cold. It wasn't someone she recognized. I'm asleep, she said. Go away. Io, the voice said again, we just want to talk. She shook her head even though he couldn't see it. I don't have anything to say. Silence. Then a different voice spoke. We know you helped him. Io's chest tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. You do, the man said calmly. And you're brave for it. But bravery can be expensive. Her hands trembled. You should leave, she said. Or I'll scream. The man chuckled softly. Scream. No one will come. Io swallowed. You don't belong here, she said. We belong wherever he goes. That was the moment she realized something important. They weren't just hunting Sang-ho. They were willing to use her. That thought made something harden inside her. You won't find him here, she said. Maybe, the man replied. But you're still here. The handle rattled harder. Io stepped back, her mind racing. Think. She grabbed her phone and texted the only number Sang-ho had left in her memory. One short message. They're here. Across town, Sang-ho's phone lit up inside his pocket. Even turned off, emergency messages still came through. He stopped. His breath caught. He pulled the phone out. Read the message. Then everything inside him shifted. The chase stopped being about him. It became about her. He turned sharply and headed back. Not running. Moving with purpose. He took shortcuts. Riskier ones. If they followed him, fine. If they didn't, he would still get there. Back in Io's room, the voices outside grew louder. Io, the man said, losing patience, open the door. No, she replied, louder now. The handle twisted hard. The door frame creaked. Io backed toward the wall. Her heart felt like it might tear itself apart. Then a voice from down the hallway shouted. Hey. The men froze. Sang-ho stepped into view at the end of the hall. Looking for me, he said calmly. Every eye turned. The men slowly turned away from Io's door. Sang-ho walked forward. You're wasting time, he said. I'm right here. One of the men smiled. You came back. For her, Sang-ho replied. Not for you. Same thing, the man said. Sang-ho glanced at Io's door. Not opening. But he knew she was listening. You don't touch her, Sang-ho said. This is between us. The men exchanged looks. Everything is connected, one said. You taught us that. Sang-ho stepped closer. Let her go. Follow me. You're not in charge anymore. That's where you're wrong. Tension filled the hallway. Not loud. Not violent. Just heavy. You made enemies, one man said. Big ones. I know. You betrayed people who don't forget. I know. You hid behind a child. I didn't hide, Sang-ho said. I protected. They laughed softly. That's what everyone says, one replied. Sang-ho's voice hardened. This ends now. How? The man asked. You're outnumbered. Sang-ho looked straight at him. I only need one mistake. Silence stretched. Then someone at the far end of the hallway shouted. Police. The word cut through the tension. The men stiffened. What? One muttered. Another voice echoed. Police. Open up. The men cursed under their breath. Sang-ho didn't look surprised. Because he hadn't come back alone. Sirens echoed faintly outside. Not close. But close enough to change everything. The men backed away. This isn't over, one said. Sang-ho met his eyes. It is for tonight. The men turned and ran down the stairwell. Footsteps faded. The hallway went quiet. Io's door opened slowly. She stepped out, her face pale. You came back, she said. I told you I would, Sang-ho replied. Her knees nearly gave out. She leaned against the wall. You shouldn't have, she said. They could have hurt you. They already tried, he replied. Sirens grew louder. Sang-ho turned toward the stairs. They'll be here soon. Io grabbed his sleeve. You're leaving again. Yes. For good. He hesitated. For now. Her eyes filled with tears she didn't bother hiding. You always say that. He lowered his voice. Listen to me. This place isn't safe anymore. They know about you. So what am I supposed to do? He thought quickly. There's a shelter 2 blocks east. They won't look there tonight. You planned this, she said. I planned for possibilities. She stared at him. You planned to leave me. I planned to make sure you survive. That hit harder than she expected. You're not my father, she said. I know. You're not my brother. I know. Then why does this feel like you're abandoning me? Sang-ho's jaw tightened. Because you let yourself trust me, he said quietly. And that makes everything harder. She wiped her face angrily. I didn't ask to care. Neither did I. They stood there, surrounded by sirens and distant voices. Time was running out. You need to go, Sang-ho said. So do you. He nodded. Different directions. She shook her head. That's not fair. No, he agreed. It's necessary. He pulled a small folded paper from his pocket and pressed it into her hand. What's this? She asked. A contact. Someone who owes me. If you ever need help. She looked down at it. You're planning for after. I always do. She looked up at him. Will I see you again? He held her gaze. I don't know, he said honestly. She nodded slowly. Then don't die, she said. That would make you a liar. A faint smile appeared on his face. I'll try, he said. They stood there for one last second. Then Sang-ho turned and walked away. Io watched him go. Not because she wanted to. But because she needed to see him leave to believe it was real. Days passed. The building felt different. Quieter. Too quiet. Io moved to the shelter. She didn't like it. But it was safer. Sometimes. She checked the folded paper every night. Sometimes she imagined hearing his footsteps. Sometimes she hated herself for hoping. Then one afternoon, a message arrived on a borrowed phone. Just one sentence. Still breathing. Io laughed and cried at the same time. She typed back. Good. Don't stop. Somewhere across the city, Sang-ho read it. And for the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to sit down. Not to hide, but to breathe. Not because he was safe, but because someone out there now cared whether he lived. And that changed everything. Not in a clean way, not in an easy way, but in a way that made running no longer the only option. Their story didn't end with victory. It ended with survival. With distance. With connection. With unfinished business. But also with something neither of them had expected. Hope. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. The kind that waits. If this story moved you, kept you on edge, and made you feel the danger, courage, and connection between Sang-ho and Io, don't just leave quietly. Hit the like button to show your support, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story like this, and turn on notifications to stay updated. Most importantly, leave a comment below and tell us if you were in Io's place, would you have helped Sang-ho, or would you have protected yourself first? Your thoughts matter, and your engagement helps keep stories like this alive.